What is up, my friends? It is Friday. The weekend has officially started, and as always, you're very welcome along to this evening's show. Fine weather out there. I hope you're all enjoying it. Looking forward to the game on Sunday. It feels like an eternity since last week. We've been so conditioned to these 2 games a week that when it's just one, I don't know what to be doing with myself for the rest of the week. So tonight we're going to be looking ahead to maybe some team selection changes for the weekend. We're going to speak about Chelsea's pursuit of Dean Hoyston and why Liverpool need to get their finger out. We're going to speak a little bit about Hugo Ekitike, and we're going to speak about Benjamin Sesko as well. But most importantly, we're going to discuss whatever it is that you, ladies and gentlemen, want us to go through, because this is your show and we appreciate you all being in. Right, so where to start, ladies and gents? Where to start? Well, let's start with a hello again. Yeah, I think that's the best way. It's been weird, like not streaming yesterday evening. I always feel really strange sitting around watching football or not streaming at night time when I'm on here usually. So one day away feels like I missed everybody. So it's great to be back. Right, let's see in the chat. We are the champions. We're the champions, folks. We're going to get that guard of honour at Stamford Bridge on Sunday, confirmed as well by Enzo Maresca, because, well, that's the right thing to do, isn't it? So interesting to see which 11 Arne Slot goes with. He kind of hinted to some changes in his press conference earlier on today, whether that's Bradley back in for Trent, whether that's Chiesa maybe getting a start through the middle. I guess we can continue guessing until we see the team sheet. But one thing is important is I don't want us to go too weak here, because one, don't want to lose the first game after becoming Premier League champions, and two, if we can keep Chelsea out of the Champions League, that could help us in the summer transfer window, because if they don't have Champions League money, well, then it makes it much harder for them to compete financially. Well, I say that in theory it does, but you never know with Chelsea and Todd Bowley. So, yeah, let's see if we can't take some points off them and push them down the table a little bit. Any other time, I wouldn't really care, but if there is a chance there to keep Chelsea out of the Champions League, I think we should be looking to take it. Right, what have you got in the chat? Liverpool Love is in there as well. How are you, my man? Ian Greenstreet, always lovely to see you in, my friend. So yeah, look, loads to get through tonight. I am probably going to start off with a few quotes from Andy Robertson, if that's okay. He's been speaking about his Liverpool future, and he's 1 year to go basically at the end of this season, Robbo. And he said that he would welcome the opportunity to open talks with the higher-ups at Liverpool over extending that past 2026. So I wanted to gauge what you guys think about that. I'm unsure as to what the best plan of action will be for Andy Robertson. Was this season a fluke? Was it a late start, like Arne Slot said, that seen him play catch-up? Because it did feel like Robbo was pretty much playing catch-up for his full fitness throughout the season. So I'm wondering if we're jumping the gun if we give him a new deal. I think let's see how he starts next season. Let's see how he is injury-wise as well. And then look to maybe give him a new deal. I wouldn't be rushing to it personally. We don't know what's going to happen this summer as well. As it cost us, that's the parts. Well, that's where the smart money is. So, yeah, what do you guys think on Andy Robertson? Would you be giving him a new deal if you were Liverpool Football Club, or would you hang off a little bit? Genuinely, I think it's fair to say I'm unsure. I want him to stay. I want it to work out, but I'm going to need to make sure that we see it on the pitch. Harrison said, sell Robertson if Liverpool are ready to buy Kirkes. That's my opinion. I would sell Costas for a couple of reasons. One, you get a lot more money for Costas because Robbo's got 1 year to go and he's, 31? So I would sell Costas personally, and then you'd have the young, energetic left-back and the old senior pro who can probably give us a mix of the best of both worlds. But again, appreciate your honesty and your feedback, Harrison. Steve said, Arne said he was criticised when we played weaker teams against Plymouth. Now going to give more players a chance. I mean, I think he's more criticised because we lost against Plymouth than playing the weaker team. But he doesn't have to change too much here. Like, remember, Trent started the last game. So if you bring in Conor Bradley at right back, well then that's a change, isn't it? I think we might see a change at centre back as well. Just got a sneaking suspicion we may see Jarell Kwanzaa start alongside Virgil van Dijk. But again, this is all just gut feeling stuff at the minute. We do have a duty of care to the rest of the Prem. And like I said, if we can stop Chelsea getting Champions League football, as shithouse as it sounds, that could be a good thing for us if we're looking at some of the same targets as well. Nick, always lovely to see you, my friend, and thank you for the first super chat of the night. Nick said, "Good evening, Craig. I hope you're well. With the remaining games to go, what do you think Slot will do in terms of formations? Will we see some new starts, more game time? What do you reckon?" Formation-wise, I don't really expect a change, no. I think it'll be the same that we play with now, maybe a couple of small tweaks, but roughly the same we set up with now, a 4-3-3. With regards to starting players, well, yes and no. He will want to put some people in the shop window. Let's be honest about that. There might also be some players that still have a possibility to win him round, and I'm hoping the likes of Chiesa and Elliott come into that conversation. So, if you see them on the team sheet, at least we're going to get to make a fair assessment. Elliott has a bigger body of work at Liverpool, obviously, but Federico Chiesa, we have not seen him at all this season. So I would like to see Chiesa start through the middle, and in my predicted 11, I did put Chiesa through the middle. Other changes in the lineup, Endo, maybe. Does he get a run out? I don't think he'll start him, but we may see a change or two in that midfield. Obviously, you've got Jones, Szoboszlai as options as well. McAllister could be one to make way and get a bit of a breather as well. But I don't want us to go too weak because, as I said, Chelsea have a lot to play for, and I want us to make sure they don't get in the Champions League. So, yeah, for me, I wouldn't be tinkering too much with the starting 11. Again, it'd be a bit of an anticlimax to win the Premier League one week, have all the highs and all of that, and then go out the next week and lose the very first game after it, especially if you're getting a guard of honour onto the pitch. So I think 2 or 3 changes would be enough. I feel Chiesa won't be on the bench, said Troy King Edit. Look, if I had my way, Darwin Núñez wouldn't be on the bench, but I'm interested to see what he does at right back, though. Like, this is, for me, the most interesting decision that Arne has to make this weekend. Because with Conor Bradley not being available last weekend, it was obvious that Trent was going to come in. And look, Trent did absolutely fine. But we're looking to the future here, right? And still, I'm seeing, even from the likes of the Echo, a belief that Trent will depart when he leaves at the end of the season, or when the end of the season comes around. So for me there's no point in playing Trent. If Bradley's training and he's back and he's available, I want to see Bradley start in the last 4 games. No room for sentiment. We need to make sure that Arne gets a good look at him, that the players get as many minutes with him as possible, and that we see if he is going to be the guy at right back. That's my thought process on that anyway, but I'm not Arne Slot, as much as I may look like an overweight Poundland version of him. Ian said, Craig, we could do Newcastle a favour and beat Chelsea. I just think we could do football a favour and beat Chelsea. Because I swear every player, Ian, every player that I'm seeing coming into transfer conversations, Chelsea's name is in and around. I'm not even joking. Everybody that we're linked with, I see in the article as well, Chelsea. So, for instance, James Pearce has said this. Liverpool currently regard Chelsea as the frontrunners for Dean Huijsen, said Mr. James Pearce. I don't know. See, this is where I get confused as a fan. Because the other day, we read a piece, I think it was Lewis Steele, that said Liverpool have no intention of making a play at this stage for Huijsen, for Kirkes, or for Semenyo, because they're still pushing for European football and Liverpool don't want to be disrespectful. So we had this conversation the other day. Now we're suddenly behind Chelsea, according to James Pearce. Why is that? I'll tell you why that is. Because Chelsea won't be respectful. Chelsea won't give a damn. They'll be out there trying to get the players in early doors. And we should be doing the same. Now, I'm not sure the information that James Pearce has, but again, my belief is that the player prefers the idea of a move to Liverpool. But if Liverpool aren't going to move quickly in the centre-back market, then yes, there is a chance we could miss out on Huijsen and he could end up at Chelsea. So let's wait and see. I just hope we don't twiddle our thumbs and we go and we're proactive in this transfer window. Patrick, how are you, my fellow champion? I love addressing people in that way now, because you're all fellow champions at this point, right? I think we should all get a guard of honour, shouldn't we? All of us together. Right, hey Craig, still feels surreal to be champions. Don't know, but I'm not convinced about Ekitike at Liverpool or Sesko. What are your thoughts about it? I know more about Benjamin Sesko. I've watched more of Benjamin Sesko. And I've always believed Benjamin Sesko is an outstanding player that could flourish in any team. But I've always had a question of whether he'd be prolific. So I see him as a Firmino type centre forward. Somebody who'll get you 15 goals a season, 20 goals a season, but never 30, 35 at the top level. But again, it's going to come down to what Arne Slot wants. We know that he'll certainly have no shortage of data on the likes of Ekitike or on Sesko. I think there's just common sense. You know, we can talk about Isak till we're blue in the face, but we know Newcastle don't want to sell Isak. So if either of those two came through the door, Patrick, I'd be okay with it. I feel like it'd be a bit more of a risk looking at Ekitike, but again, if the price tag for him is real, the one that has apparently been doing the rounds of about €100 million, I'd pass and I would look at somebody like a Sesko. But for me, Julian Alvarez should be the number one target. He's the one that I'd take personally, or, you know, it's easier to say I take him, but, you know, if there's any interest whatsoever in Atleti maybe selling him, I think we should be there. Cal, kind of, you almost backed up what I was talking about there, Cal, see? We're in sync, my man, we're in sync. Hey, Craig, I don't think we suit a traditional striker, so we could try for a Nico/Rodrigo move and Salah to be centre forward, less reliant on his pace as he ages, but his finishing, assist, hold-up play is mint. Firmino 2.0. Look, Cal, you've been around a long time here on the channel, mate. You're probably well aware of me saying that I'd have tried Salah through the centre a good time ago. It's not unusual for players to move or alter positions as they get a bit older, maybe lose a yard of pace, so maybe. It is a very interesting window in that regard, really it is, because it'll give us an indication. Like, I'm still firmly of the mindset that Jota's getting sold. Now, James Pearce seems to think otherwise again, but again, I'm trying to be respectful because I do have respect for James Pearce, but he does have the nickname Bad News Pearce for a reason, and he has been wrong on a fair few things in the past. Look, it's difficult because, yes, the club brief some of these journalists on certain things, but not everything that they're briefed is 100%. And even journalists know this, to be fair. They have to make a decision on whether they think that the club are maybe throwing out a bit of bait out there to misdirect or whether it's genuine interest. So on Diogo Jota, we're seeing mixed messages. Let me just get a post up here so I can give you a better indication of what I mean. So 1 second. Where is it? Right, so here, this one's from James Pearce as well. The futures of Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota have been the subject of speculation. Diaz coming off the back of his best season for Liverpool, who do not want to lose him. The same goes for Jota. There's no sign of either pushing for a move. I disagree, respectfully, with James Pearce on Diogo Jota. I think Liverpool would be open to selling Diogo Jota, particularly if we got anywhere near the £40-45 million valuations that's been put about. And I think it would be the right move. We do need a reset through the centre. Darwin Núñez clearly has to go, and Diogo Jota for me would be another one. But for one reason only, dependability, a lack of it. You can't go into the season thinking you're going to be able to rely on Diogo because his body, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be able to play as many games as we'd need. So for those reasons, I would move on both of the centre forwards. Now, the good news on the left-hand side with Luis Diaz is it does look like Liverpool and Luis Diaz are going to start negotiating a new deal, which is brilliant. Because I've said all the way through, I don't understand these links to Diaz going away. I've never understood them. Why would we want to get rid of a player who is done very well for the club, who always gives his all, who's loved by the fans, and gives us two brilliant options on the left side? And competition is a good thing. So for me, Jota and Darwin could be, maybe moved on. That's my take on it. But who comes in to replace them? I haven't got a clue who the front runner is. I don't. It seems as if we can say 100% Ekitike is being evaluated. And as I've mentioned, Sesko as well. I mean, let's read this one out again, coming from James Pearce. Hugo Ekitike and Benjamin Sesko have been considered. So, you know, they've been looked at. Doesn't go any further to that, but, you know, ruled out the likes of Cunha and Delap, as we mentioned yesterday. So, yeah, unsure on this one. I want to move on to a little bit about Angelo Stiller and basically me thinking we were lied to again by certain journalists. I'll move on to that in a moment, but before I do, a couple of comments to get through. Patrick said, in my opinion, Chelsea isn't as annoying as Real Madrid every single day. I wish they'd leave us alone. Love you, Craig. I just find it fascinating that they can make as many signings as they have, not be in the Champions League, spend 1.3 billion. Now that's not net. They have recouped 400 or 500 million or something. That just baffles me, mate. How they can keep getting away with it and how they can even attract the players, because there's so much change there. I don't understand how any player can go there and think, yeah, my career is going to be cool here. Definitely nothing to be concerned about. There's just such a churning and turnover of players. It would concern me. Yes, you do maybe have the 6-7 year contract stuff, but it's just, it wouldn't be a club that would attract me the way they are at the minute. Not that they're looking to bring in an overweight 43-year-old, but you get my point. Crimbo Slot, appreciate you, my man. And thank you. I don't know what to say other than thank you for your continued support. 18 months with us as a member. Look, we've just broken our own channel record, as I mentioned the other day. We're 7.1 million views in the last 28 days, which is a record for our channel. Community continues to grow, and I'm honestly humbled by it all because it's nuts. But yeah, man, thank you. Appreciate you. Stevie Boy, concerning the contract talks with Canade some way off, it is a worry, Stevie Boy. It is, my man. And it's one that I haven't gotten a read on, so I don't know. I don't know if it's delayed because somebody else is in his ear. So Real Madrid are being rumoured to be interested in him. We know PSG are interested in him. But what we don't know is what Ibu wants. I hope he wants to stay. You know, he's loved at the club. He's had a great partnership with Van Dijk this season. But truth is, I don't know. All I can say to you is, Fabrizio Romano posted a few months saying that things were going in the right direction and it looked like it was always going to be a formality. But things have gone a bit cold since that. So you're right to be concerned about it. That should be something the club look to get resolved soon enough. Now, I want to get your take on something, because me and Connor slightly disagreed on this. So I want to know what you guys feel about it. This piece from James Pearce, or these quotes from James Pearce, posted by Anfield Sector, have wound me up a little bit. And I want to see if you guys think similarly. So let me read it out to you first. It says, when Liverpool failed in their pursuit of Martin Zubimendi last summer, they considered Stuttgart's Angelo Stiller as an alternative. So, a couple of points I want to make here. It says when Liverpool failed. So after Liverpool had failed with Zubimendi, they considered Stiller. Were we or were we not told by the journalist covering the Liverpool patch that there was no plan B, there was no other option? It was Martin Zubimendi or nobody, and when it wasn't Martin Zubimendi, Liverpool moved on. Were we or were we not told this? So now to be told that they considered Angelo Stiller, again, who's lying? Who's lying here? Because this pisses me off. Because we were all saying, well, hang on. If you don't get Zubimendi, where's the plan B? And we were told it was because of Ryan Gravenberch's excellent development, and we didn't need somebody. And now all of a sudden we're being told that they were evaluating and looking at Stiller after they failed in the pursuit of Zubimendi. I'm fed up of the lies. I'm fed up of them putting out stuff that they know is bullshit and then months later contradicting their own reports and not getting called out on it. It bugs me. But I want to know if you picked that up the same as me, or if you think I've read that situation wrong. But I remember very, 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 very clearly being told that it was only Zubimendi, that after a long search and going through all the data and numbers, Zubimendi was the only guy. He was the guy, and if it wasn't him, Liverpool were moving on. I don't know. As I said, I'll let you guys comment away in it, and we'll come back to it in a moment. Adam said, looking forward to meeting the team on the 28th. Thank you, Adam. Do you know what? Honestly, mate, the two shows in Liverpool are selling really, really well. We released the Wednesday show a lot earlier, but the show on the last day of the season, that's selling a good few tickets every day at this point. I think that could be our biggest ever show. Could sell out the one on the Sunday. So as I've said to people, if you want to come along to either of them, without pushing the hard sell, make sure you get your tickets as early as possible, because all I know at the minute is that we're in a theatre that has a capability of X amount of people, and I don't know if we have the ability to move up to one of the bigger ones because I don't know how busy they are on that day. So, yeah, looking forward to it as well, Adam. But again, just a little heads up to everyone. While we're talking about that, we can confirm the show in Cork as well. As promised, we are coming to Cork. It is booked, and we can't release the ticketing details yet because we're still working that with the venue, but we will be at Cypress Avenue. We will be in Cork August the 8th, Friday, the day before the Community Shield. We'll be down in Cork for a show. It will be an over 18s event because, again, licensing laws of the venue. But looking forward to seeing everyone down there. And if you want to come and see us in Cork, well, the good news is the tickets will be just €20. Cheaper than our rivals, shall we say. And I can promise you one thing. When my ass shows up in Cork, hopefully not, Cork, I will be talking about the Trent Alexander-Arnold situation. I will be talking about the owners, and I will be talking about the stuff that apparently others won't. So, Corkonians, if you want to come and see us, you'll be getting a proper no-holds-barred evening with proper conversation. So, we hope to see you there. AstroCop said, "Hey Craig, your streams make my day." Mate, thank you so much. Being on here with you guys makes my day. I missed you all yesterday when I didn't stream. Even though it was one night off, I always feel like I want to come on and catch up with everyone. Alex said, "If you listen to Pearce, we're not going to sign anyone." Again, I really like James Pearce. I have to say, he is one of the nicest guys in our world and what we do. He really, really is a lovely fella. But he has sometimes posted stuff that we know to be nonsense. So he said Liverpool have no interest. Liverpool aren't looking to bring in a goalkeeper, we were told, before Mamardashvili, even though everybody knew Mamardashvili was going to be signed a few days later. It's stuff like that I think has led to some people questioning some more of the stuff maybe that gets posted. But I gotta say, I go in on a lot of the Liverpool-centric journalists, but James Pearce would be somebody that I have nothing but immense respect for as a fella. But like anybody else, if I think something's not sitting right, I'm going to talk about it. Right, so Crimbo Slot said 100% correct. Mark said yes, we were. Again, just being told about this whole stuff about Zubimendi and how there was no other option. So again, you can see that we're being told something that, isn't necessarily the case. And it annoys me. Right. Nick, or Kick Lizard, sorry, said Dream Window, Hoyson, Kirkes, Akitika, and Quinton Timber, is it? So for me, Hoyson, yes. Kirkes, yes. Akitika, look, I'm willing to bow down to the striker that the manager wants, whomever that may be. Timber's an interesting one. I just don't know, personally, for me, if he'd be what we need. But again, we're not too far away from finding out. I'm also interested to see when Trent actually starts talking about his future and when we actually get that announcement, because things are going a little bit quiet in that at the minute, and I know a lot of people are hoping that he's changing his mind, but I don't believe he has. Michael said, Craig, a rumour is that the reason Chiesa is not playing due to some medical issue that wasn't picked up by medical staff and mentioned by Chiesa in his medical with Liverpool. Any news on this? No. I mean, he wouldn't be in matchday squads if there was a medical issue, right? I don't know. All I can say is it feels weird. It feels to me like Arne Slot just doesn't want them. And also, like we've said previously, this line about him disappointing the coaching staff in the Plymouth game just feels overly harsh. So I just don't know, mate, is the honest answer with it. If it's a medical issue, yes, that probably would have to be kept confidential. But why would he be in matchday squads if there was a medical issue? Sky Sports reporting Chelsea pushing for Haddo. Does this mean Huijsen giving a yes to Liverpool? No. It just means Chelsea are going to be linked with centre backs the same as we are, left backs the same as we are, forwards the same as we are. Yeah, look, they've been linked to pretty much every player under the sun, and I still don't know where they're getting the money from. Like, again, I'm going back to conversations that many journalists said that if they didn't get Champions League football, that their business model was in trouble. They haven't had Champions League football for a couple of seasons. They're not guaranteed it yet this summer. So that's why I think Liverpool should be looking to get in players' ears now when we can guarantee that they will have Champions League football. Chelsea can't offer that guarantee just yet. Ian said, Kirkes, Huijsen, Alvarez and Haddo, that's who I would buy in the transfer window. What do you think? Dream. Probably gone too much on the... I don't know if Haddo would be needed. If you got Kirkes and Huijsen, Haddo would be a good addition if, let's say, Gomez moved on or something. And that's another thing I think may happen this summer. Joe Gomez may actually finally depart Liverpool after just a brilliant contribution to Liverpool over the last 10 or so years. Brad said, hey Craig, it still doesn't feel real winning the league. I was at Anfield Bar in Maramis when it happened. Absolute scenes there, felt surreal. Maramis is... Actually, I haven't been to Maramis yet. We're gonna drive up and have a visit to Maramis when we're over in Turkey, because we're not a million miles. I think we're about an hour and a half away from it where we're staying. So we're gonna drive up and check out Maramis. Yeah, it still hasn't sunken in for me either. I think when we see the Guard of Honour on Sunday, it'll really start to feel real that Liverpool are Premier League champions. But it's great to say it. Every night when I'm going to bed now, the full-size Premier League trophy's in my bedroom, and I'm not joking, I give it a kiss every night before I go to bed. That's how sad I am. But that's how amazing it feels. Liverpool are Premier League champions, and with 4 games to go, it's class. Jack said, I wish Trent would grow some balls and speak up. For me, it's gotten past the stage of courage or balls or anything into just courtesy at this point. Just be respectful. We've only got a few weeks left now before the season's over. And if I was to guess, I'm going to say he lets the parade and all happen first. So he goes on the bus, goes around, gets all the adulation of Liverpool fans, and then I think we get the announcement that he's departing a week or so after that. That's my best guess at how this pans out, because I don't think his camp or the club want him to have to front up to what will be a bit of a backlash when he announces he's going. I don't think they want that to be the case. I think they want him to be able to exit quietly, with the club's thanks and all the positive PR that will come with that as well. I'm sure Sabrina wouldn't mind if you cuddle the trophy if you wanted it. True story. I was going to bed last night, and every time I come into the bedroom, she kind of wakes up for a second. So I said, night, love you, to the trophy, and she thought I was talking to her and said, love you. And then I had to say to her, I was actually talking to the trophy, but, I love you too. Where did you get the Premier League trophy from? A company in Hong Kong. Got it on eBay from a company in Hong Kong. I tried to share a link with somebody the other day, but I don't know if they don't have any available at the minute, because I know that they produce the trophies and then ship them. I have a Champions League one on the way from the same company in Hong Kong, but that's where I got it from. A company in Hong Kong on eBay. Thoughts on Man United last night? Look, I think both English clubs can feel like they're in the final. I mean, United definitely there, no doubt about that. Spurs going full Spurs and letting in a late one probably means that they may come under a bit of pressure. If they concede early away on what I believe is a synthetic pitch as well, that could get a bit interesting for Spurs. But so the decisions of last night: penalty, I think nailed on penalty. Red card. I'm a little bit torn on whether it should have been a red card or not, to be honest with you, because You can say he didn't make the attempt to play the ball, but how could he have made an attempt to play the ball in the way he was? Did he deny the goal scoring opportunity? Absolutely. So I think penalty, no doubt about it. After that, I think Bilbao missed some chances early in the game that they probably will feel like has cost them. But ultimately, United pulled them apart and got the victory, and they have 1 foot in the final, more than 1 foot in the final. They're in the final, which I think will give them an advantage over whoever the other team are, whether it's Spurs or Bordeaux Glimt, because the final's in Bilbao and United have just played in Bilbao. So they'll know the stadium, they'll know what the match day routine feels like to go and play there, they'll know what the pitch is like. So I think United have an advantage going into that final. And look, I don't want them to win it, but it kind of feels like they will now. What size trophy was it, Craig? It's exact same full size replica of the Premier League trophy, 77 centimetres. Yeah, exactly the same size as the Premier League trophy. Adam said, all right, Craig, Chiesa must be currently, or Chelsea, is it? Sorry, Chelsea must be currently failing UEFA FFP because they didn't exclude the hotel sale, yet they are intend to splash the cash. How? Well, they'll be selling the women's team to themselves, or they have. I can't remember if it's been done yet. The hotel situation. I'm sure that they will move on a load of players again. Saudi has bailed them out on a few occasions as well with some sales of older players over there. I don't know. Like, if they don't get Champions League football, surely there has to be some FFP or PSR concerns there. I can't understand how there wouldn't be, but they feel like a club, Chelsea, who've gotten away with it for 20 years or longer. Even go back to Abramovich, I think they were losing, like, I don't want to exaggerate this, but I think it was something like 700 grand a week in the Abramovich era on average they lost. So, no idea. They just seem to be a club that get away with it over and over and over again. So yeah, I'm sure there are journalists that'll be able to give you more information that actually understand the ins and outs of Chelsea's situation. I don't pay too much attention to it to know the exact details of it all, but I do know it feels like they get away with a lot, or they're just outwitting the Premier League a lot, one way or the other. But it just feels greasy, the whole lot of it. Right, let's talk about Alisson for a moment. So James Pearce again said Liverpool have a 1-year option built into Alisson Becker's deal, so Alisson is effectively under contract till the summer of 2027, as we always believe to be the case. Now, I didn't know that there was the option. I thought his contract was just a straight contract to 2027. But again, just to confirm, Alisson does have 2 years to go on his Liverpool deal. Kelleher, by the way, looks like will certainly be departing this summer. There's talk that Liverpool are going to look to bring in about 80 million from the sales of Kelleher, Ben Doak, and who was the other one? Tyler Morton. They reckon 30, 20, 30. So 30 million for Kelleher, 30 million for Ben Doak, and 20 million for Tyler Morton. That's, I think I might actually have this in the notes here. 1 second. One sec. Let me just flick through all my notes. No, I don't seem to have it in my notes. Sorry. Let's talk about Joe Allen for a second, if I can. He's going to retire from football at the end of this season. 661 professional appearances for club and country. Played for Swansea, Wrexham, Liverpool and Stoke. And I think we should acknowledge Joe Allen's career. If he's hanging up his boots at the end of the season, what a career it's been. Where was that piece about Liverpool looking to raise that money? Sorry. Don't seem to have it in these notes here at the minute. But yeah, Liverpool, they're the 3 players mentioned in one piece today that Liverpool are looking to cash in on, and that it won't be a penny less than 30 million for Ben Doak. But I've told you guys all the way along. You can go back, I told people a year ago that Ben Doak was going to be sold no matter what happens. And now it just seems to be the case of how much money can we get from him, and 30 million seems to be the bottom line. Craig, I read a piece on Sky. The Liverpool fans made so much noise on Sunday, it nearly caused an earthquake. Yeah, we spoke about it yesterday. I think I still have it in my notes here. 1 second. Something about 1.74 on the Richter scale, yeah. Alexis McAllister's stunning strike in the 24th minute to put Liverpool 2-1 ahead produced a peak magnitude of 1.74 on the Richter scale, which is nuts. Right, so the team of the year has been announced. The EAFC or the FC25 team of the year has been announced. I'm sure you guys know about it, but let's talk you through it just in case you don't. Let me just move my notes across. So here is the FC25 team of the year. Sells in goal. Trent at right back. Virgil van Dijk in one of the centre back positions. Alongside him is Gabriel from Arsenal. And at left back, Milos Kerkez. In midfield, Declan Rice, Ryan Gravenberch and Cole Palmer. Mohamed Salah on the right-hand side of the attack. Alexander Isak through the middle. And Matheus Cunha on the left. So that's the starting 11 of the FC25 team of the season. On the bench, there is Milinkovic of Forest, Robertson of Fulham, Chris Wood of Forest, Saka of Arsenal only makes the bench. I can hear the Arsenal fan tears from here. Bruno Fernandes makes it on there. Alexis McAllister is on the bench as well. William Saliba is on the bench and Erling Haaland. So that is the full FC25 team of the year or squad of the year or I don't know, whatever it's called because I don't play computer games, but that is the team of the year and let me know your thoughts on it. Do you think there are any notable absences or changes that should be made to it? Mark's just sent me on a piece here. Is this it? Liverpool want to combine 80 million for 3 of their academy graduates this summer with sales expected to boost transfer funds. Yes, that is it, Mark. Thank you. They go on to speak about Caoimhín Kelleher and Tyler Morton are among those set to be made available. With goalkeeper in the final year of his contract. Ben Doak is attracting mass interest, it says. And again, we told you about Everton's interest in him previously. So, yeah, 80 million quid is looking like it could be recouped. And look, of those 3 players, no problem with any of them. Moving on. Kelleher, look, it's out of our hands at this point. But if we can bring in 80 million for Tyler Morton, Ben Doak and Caoimhín Kelleher, that would be money that we could put to good use. Brad Larkin, how are you, bro? Said, would you do another video with just Joe now that Leeds have been promoted and also Leeds take Kelleher as a good replacement? I'm sure I can do a video with Joe. I love chatting with Joe. He's Joe Weymouth is one of my good friends in the industry, somebody who I think makes great content, and yeah, absolutely we'll make a video. You know, we spoke earlier on in the season and the last time Leeds won the First Division or the Championship, Liverpool won the Prem, so it would be nice to catch up with Joe now. No, I did send him a message as soon as they got promoted, and he was very excited about it, and of course the extra content he's going to get to produce next year as a Premier League Leeds United fan. So yeah, no problem. Great suggestion and one I'm happy to do because, as I said, Joe's a top fella. Right, let's talk about Cole Palmer because interesting little scenario popped up on, I think it's X, but I might be wrong on that one. So yeah, it is on X. Let me read this out to you and then you can see where I'm going with it. So Jamie Carragher posted about his Telegraph piece that he writes, and he said, watching Cole Palmer for Chelsea reminds me of watching Steven Gerrard for Liverpool. Assists and goals from midfield, but at times a frustration of what's been going on around him. Now, that's absolutely fine. Jamie Carragher is perfectly within his rights to write his piece on Cole Palmer and discuss his take, but it's one of the responses to it that really stood out and has garnered a lot of likes as well. So this is the reply from a guy called Jakob, Yakob, said, Jamie, you're an incredibly weird person. This fascination with Cole Palmer is weird. You force him down our throats by saying he's better than Salah. Now you angle a way of hiding his painfully obvious poor season with this article. Now, I have to say, I have felt that there has been a bit of a weird hyping of Cole Palmer from Carragher at times. it's weird because he's had a shit second half to the season. There's no two ways about that. And I don't see any Jamie Carragher or Stephen Gerrard-esque style bits in Cole Palmer. Not at all. Stephen Gerrard was far more aggressive for me than Cole Palmer. And I do think he's gotten away with a lot from the second half of the season. He has fallen off a cliff. And for Carragher to say he's being frustrated with what's going on around him, I think that's unfair when you look at they've got two 100 million plus midfielders in the centre of that midfield, and Enzo Fernandez and Moise Caicedo. It's not like he's surrounded with tripe at Chelsea. His failings in the second half of the season, to me, have to be put down to him. And look, that's okay. He's a youngish player. They're going to have up and down times, but I do feel I would err more on the side of the reply to Carragher's piece than agree with Carragher's piece. But let me know what you guys think on it. I just don't think Cole Palmer has delivered enough this season to get some of the hype that he has. Muckrab said, if the reports are true about Doak, then we've basically loaned him to fatten him up to be sold. That is what I was always told was going to be the case, Muckrab. I was honest about that with you guys when I was told that there was no future for him at Liverpool, because it annoyed me, because I genuinely thought him and Rio could be two really good young options that could help us out in wide positions in the future. But it was made very clear to me that he wasn't going to be really given a chance at Liverpool, that he would be sold. And I'm okay with it. I am. I got to be honest. Like, if you can bring in a player for low money, which he was brought in for, loan him out and get 30 million back, I'm not against that for the club. I think that's another good way of supplementing income. You know, it is what modern football has been about, and it's what the likes of Chelsea and Manchester City and other clubs have done for a while as well. So, personally, I'm all right with it. It's just when I start seeing people writing that he isn't for sale and stuff, certain journalists, I just think, who are you fucking trying to kid? He's definitely for sale. Mary Nelson said nowhere near as good as Stevie G. He shouldn't even be in that conversation. The only player I think that can be put into the Stevie G conversation, and may have even surpassed him, is De Bruyne. You know, after that, no interest in any comparisons, because De Bruyne, I think, can hold his own with any era of Premier League midfielders or attacking midfielders, because he is absolutely sensational. But yeah, I definitely got confused. I don't understand, like, he's not coming to Liverpool for a start, so there's no reason for us to be bigging him up because we may bring him in, but just feels like a weird one. I think if he wasn't English, I don't think he'd be getting as much praise. Put it that way. Matthew, bit of good news for us. Well, Matthew said, hey Craig, joined the stream late, got my first promotion today and wanted to say thank you for the streams that give me company work until 2 a.m. where I live. Much love to you and the AA community. Well, congratulations, Matthew. That's awesome, my man. Delighted for you that you got that promotion. Yeah, no need to thank us ever, man. It's always a pleasure to have you in, but that's class. Congratulations to you. Steve said, Craig, about a year ago, I thought the best two players in the league were Palmer and Foden, and still take them at Liverpool. Both of them have fallen off a cliff this season for me. I've never rated Cole Palmer as high as some others, although I would certainly not sit here and say he isn't a good footballer. He's a very good footballer, but I don't know. There's something about him that just makes me feel like he's a little too inconsistent. And I don't know what's happened with Foden. I thought Phil Foden was on to be another David Silva, because he certainly has all the tools. But yeah, he's had another iffy season. Is that fair to say? But yeah, I wouldn't have any interest in Cole Palmer at Liverpool personally. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe others would give anything for Cole Palmer at Liverpool. There are many players I'd prefer ahead of him. I love that. Loads of people in the chat congratulating Matthew as well, which is why I love our community so much. Just full of good people. Tanya said, see, we're linked to a Celtic forward. You've maybe covered the story late in. I haven't covered it fully, but we did talk about it a little bit in the video earlier on. 1 second. Let me just grab my notes on it, unless I've deleted it. It's Maeda, I think. There was Liverpool and Arsenal, I think, if I'm right. We're linked to Maeda, 27-year-old from Celtic. I did talk about it in the video earlier on today. I just think I've deleted it from my notes after I spoke about it in the video. But yeah, Liverpool and Arsenal both linked with him, and I know nothing about him. I don't watch Scottish football, but he is 27, which made me feel like it would be a weird one. But again, I know there are people in the chat who watch a lot more Scottish football than I would, so let me know. Is he any good? 27, though, just makes me feel, probably not really happening. Right, here is something from TNT Football, or TNT Sport, I should say. Said, only Mohamed Salah, with 56, has been involved in more goals across all competitions than Bruno Fernandes, 35 this season. Premier League players only. So, again, you can see the season Salah's having 56 goal involvements in all competitions is just ludicrous for Mo. Sky Sports have said Luis Diaz will hold talks with Liverpool about extending his contract at the end of the season. That report from Sky Sports. So that's great news. I hope Lucho extends. He's had a very, very good second half to the season with Liverpool. Certainly looking like he's got his mojo back. And I never understood the thought process to try and move him on. I'd be delighted if Lucho signs an extension that keeps him at the club, let's say, till he's 32. So 4-year deal. He's got 2 years to go. We know he's on modest salary compared to some of the other attackers. So yeah, for me, that would be a very good thing for Liverpool to do. Sit down, trash out a new deal and keep him at the club. The competition we have on that left side is brilliant. Pranav said Liverpool linked with the Kuiper. Good. The only thing about him is he's a little bit older than some of the other fullbacks. But you may or may not remember, Pranav, me speaking about Maxime de Kuiper as somebody who I rate very, very highly. Somebody told me to keep an eye on him about 18 months ago and started watching him. And I have to say, whenever I've seen Bruges play, he's really impressed me. But I always wondered, was his age maybe a bit of a problem for us? Because I think he's either 25 or 26, or maybe even a little bit older, but certainly in the higher age bracket than other fullbacks we've been looking at. Isak. Eddie Howe, speaking about Isak, he is not for sale from my perspective. But still, every day I'm seeing stories linking Liverpool and Arsenal with Isak, saying Isak's top of the targets. But I just think we should move on from it, because even if Newcastle would sell, if the number's 150 million, it's just not worth it. It's just ridiculously high. So here's more from James Pearce about the whole Gravenberch, Angelo Stiller thing. He said Gravenberch's impact in the deeper number 6 role means that signing another holding midfielder is no longer a priority. When Liverpool failed in the pursuit of Martin Zubimendi last summer, they considered Stuttgart's Angelo Stiller as an alternative, but opted to push on with what they had. Again, though, I think this is journalists trying to say that was a good decision. I think it was a risky decision and we got lucky. Does that make sense? Because pushing on without an adequate Gravenberch replacement is fine if Gravenberch stays fit. But if Gravenberch had picked up an injury halfway through the season, would we be league champions right now? Genuinely, I don't know. And also, what would have happened if we had have brought in a competitor for that position? Maybe we could have rested him a bit more, and maybe we don't get knocked out in the Champions League a bit earlier. Maybe we win the League Cup final. These stories wind me up because, again, yes, we've won the league and that's great. But let's not make any bones about this. We ran a risk. We ran a risk at centre-back and we ran a risk in the defensive midfield position that we wouldn't pick up an injury. And if we had I think this season would have been very different. If Virgil or Canade had have been out for a prolonged period, or Gravenberch, I don't know. if we're sitting here now already winning the league. I think we got lucky this season, and that shouldn't be the game plan moving forward. Are you worried about the recent report saying Kirkes is a bit expensive? Yes, I am, Mahmood. I am. Look, we've gotten lucky with fullbacks over the years. You know, I think the most I remember us spending is Costas. You know, we got Trent for free. We got Bradley for free through the academy. We got Robbo for about 8.5, 9 million quid. And of course, we signed Costas for, I think if my memory's right, about 12. So we haven't exactly spent a lot of money in that position. But if you want to get Premier League proven, I don't think 40 million quid is too high a fee for Kirkes. Not at all. If you brought in 15 from Costas and you had to put 25 on top of that, I don't see the problem there. You know, other clubs have spent upwards of 50 million on fullbacks. So if Kirkes is the guy, get him. And does it worry me? Yes, it does worry me, because it's already looking like we're talking about cheapening down this big, huge window that we were told that Liverpool were going to be having a monumental summer in. So yeah, they do worry me, but I don't know if there's a reason to be worried, you know, because we haven't got confirmation that Liverpool aren't still going to sign him or not. So if we bring in another left back, look, I think we'll assess that on its own merits, whether that would be Nuri, whether that would be Jarell Haddo, whether that would be De Kuiper, I don't know. But right now, everybody knows Kirkes is the guy, and he's the one that would suit best, and he's the one that would make most sense. So go get him. If he doesn't want to come, that's a different conversation. But I think he should be the priority by far and away at left back. And I would say that you're not the only one, Mahmood, that's probably been a little bit concerned about some of the links to other players because of that price. But let's also say this could be a bit of a negotiating tactic for the club to show, like, let's say, for instance, that Kirkes has been sold on Liverpool by Dominic Szoboszlai and that he loves the idea of coming in. Now, that's taking a bit of a leap of faith for a minute, but bear with me. So let's say that's possible. Then Liverpool are going to want the best deal they can get. They're not going to want to go and say, oh, well, he's it. It's only him or nobody. So you've got to put out there are other options. And I know Nuri is somebody who the club have been looking at and evaluating for a very long time. So that's a genuine link. So yeah, unsure which way to look at it. Is it negotiating tactic or is it us cheaping out? I'm hoping it's the negotiating side of it. Right, I'm going to put up a poll. 1 second. Let me just move that and then get this and that. Bear with me, folks. I just have to move the mic away a bit for a second because I can't do both. Type. Right, so how do I word this? Okay. So I'm going to give you 3 options. I'm going to ask you, are you confident? Sorry, I'll move the mic back now. Are you confident that FSG will do what's required this summer in the transfer market? So we'll leave this up. I've said yes, no, or unsure. I want to see how people feel about it, because you're right to be inquiring about why there is a bit of a walk back around certain players and certain aspects. So we'll leave that running for a while and we'll get back to it in about 20-25 minutes. But do vote away in it, because I want to know how confident you guys are going into this summer window. Now look, it doesn't have to be a 200 million net spend. If you brought in 80 million from a couple of player sales and then maybe a 1 in 1 out with a few more, I'm okay with that. But it is about making sure that we have 4 or 5 changes this summer, 4 or 5 top-notch players brought in. That's the measure of this window for me. Not necessarily the amount that we spend or net spend, just judging each position and asking, do we go into next season feeling like we now have a squad that is complete and upgraded? And if the answer to that is yes, as a Liverpool fan, I'll be happy. But I'll also believe it when I see it with regards to the owners ponying up money. But, like I've said numerous times, there's no hiding place now because we've been told we've so much wiggle room financially. We haven't spent over the last couple of windows. We've made profits. So we have loads of wiggle room. We have the ability to attract by being Liverpool and Premier League champions. There's no question marks over our manager. You know, maybe when Arne Slot came in, you could say players might go, unsure how Liverpool are going to be, but Slot has shown straight away that he is the real deal. We've won the Premier League. And now there should be no hindrance to him being an attraction, the club being an attraction. And we know financially we should have that wiggle room. So this piece here from Spain said Liverpool are reportedly willing to spend €60 million to sign Stuttgart's Angelo Stiller to help bolster their midfield. So there's Angelo Stiller, then there's Hugo Larsson is another name that's been mentioned at Eintracht Frankfurt. There was the guy at Barcelona that had been mentioned as well. Then there was Morgan Rogers, mentioned as a possible midfield reinforcement if Elliott moves on. So lots of names linked, but I wonder when we're going to start hearing about some action. You know, because we know the window opens June 1st to June 10th. So I'd like to think that we're going to start hearing some stories. Because you can agree a deal to sign a player at any point. You just can't lodge that paperwork until the windows are open. Colin said, Craig, FSG are all smoke and no ambition. I also believe we're going to be underwhelmed this summer. Because, look, we're conditioned to be sceptical whenever we're told there's anything good happening with our transfer business, because there's been many false dawns. But the biggest thing I can just keep repeating this summer is there is nowhere to hide. There is no excuses. There is no financial limitations. There is no wage bill headaches. There is no anything. There's the manager's in. Everyone's settled and got their feet under the table. They've had more than enough time to do the recruitment searches. Now it better be get it done, or else again we're going to ask, what are these lads doing? Like what does Edwards and Hughes do from day to day? Bence, apparently this is coming back to Bence Bochak, said, understand Maxime de Kuiper is an option for Liverpool this summer. The club scouts have been following him for a while. He's a good player. I've mentioned this many times. He is a very good player. Stiller better than Endo, possibly, said Tanya. Look, Angelo Stiller looks like he is a very good player. I'm still unsure about Stefan Bajcetic's future because, you know, we read a report the other day that said he was going to be at least given a chance to prove himself in the summer. He's done well at Las Palmas. So, you know, I genuinely don't have a problem in midfield if we use him as the backup. But if Elliott's moved on, then we need another midfielder. And will that be a really attack-minded midfielder? Will it be a number 8? I do think we could do with a bit of creativity in there. John and Tom Werner out say, Craig, I'm so excited for what we do in the summer. I legit have no idea who we go for. Feels like something can break at any minute now that we've wrapped up the league. Thoughts? I hope so. I hope so, because it'll be a lovely boost to get off to a good start in the transfer window. We know that managers in general want the players in as early as possible so they can work with them. That's common sense. So, yeah, I hope so, mate. But I definitely have to say I'm pessimistic and I'm skeptical around these owners because, well, look, you know my thoughts on them. I haven't really changed it. They've been underwhelming with regards to the backing they've given the managers financially, and there's been too much leeway given to them in the media. Eddie, how are you, my friend? I hope you're well. Eddie said, we are Premier League champions and the owners still won't support the manager. Well, look, we don't know that for a fact yet, mate, but let's wait and see if they do or not. there's no excuse. Like, what I don't want to hear is, well, Liverpool have achieved this season with Arne Slot, so don't feel that there's necessarily need for much change. Like, that's the type of headline or article I don't want to see this summer, Eddie, because we tried that last time when we won the league and didn't work out too well, did it? You know, we can't sit on our hands. When you even have Kenny Dalglish coming out and saying that, you know, the manager needs to be back this summer. Now, he didn't say it disrespectfully against the owners, but he was saying, again, you want to build from a position of strength. And he's right. Stevie Boy said, you get the feeling there's a lot of monitoring and considering. Well, there better be a lot of action because, again, the only way to justify the quietness that we've seen in the market from Liverpool is to believe that Hughes has been doing a mammoth search, and himself and Arne Slot have spoken throughout the season, and they have figured out who they can trust, who they can't trust. We've got the contract situation sorted out with Mo and Virgil. Trent looks like he's heading off. So apart from that, yeah, there's no excuses. We've got plenty of articles to say how great they are, how they have little black books that some can only dream of contacts. And there is no hiding place this summer. It's get the job done, or we should be very fucking concerned as fans. If we don't see a big summer window this summer, I think we're going to have to start realising that we're going to have to rely on managers to pull miracles out their arse, like Jurgen did, like Arne has this season to win the league. Because winning things once off and sporadically, it's not good enough. That sounds really harsh, I know, and I'm always grateful for a league title. But I do want an era. And what's wrong with that? City have had an era with Guardiola. Arsenal had an era with Wenger. United had an era. Chelsea had an era. I want us to have our era now. Our modern era. And I want that to be with Arne Slot. And I want us to be a powerhouse and do some bullying and lean on the clubs that have PSR or FFP issues. Good. If Villa have concerns, start shithousing offers for Morgan Rogers. If Newcastle have concerns, well then start putting in offers for Isak. Just start proving that all of the cutting our cloth accordingly and all of our frugal ways have been for a reason, because now we can go out and act like a big club. Craig Adams said, what will our homegrown quota be like if we sell Elliott and Gomez? It will depend on who we bring in, I guess. But it's certainly something that needs to be considered. It's a very fair point you've made, Craig. But yeah, off the top of my head, mate, I don't know the homegrown numbers off the top of my head that, would open up or change if we move some players on. You would imagine we will be bringing in some English talent as well. So, we do have to keep that in consideration. But truth is, mate, uncertainty is the word of the day ahead of the transfer window. But also, I got to say, I like Liverpool's transfer business not being too clear-cut and open. I like that there are links and stories, but sometimes we get a player that we haven't spoken about. As long as we get the signings, whether we talk about them or the ones that we haven't spoken about, as long as they're brought in, I think we'll be happy. Like, we have a very realistic fan base, is what I would say. There are always people who are too far in either direction, but most of us live in the realms of understanding that we can't spend 500 million in a transfer window net. And that's why I get so wound up when Paul Gorster or Ian Doyle or anybody else tries to look down their nose and just slag off Liverpool fans and say, this isn't Championship Manager, this isn't FIFA. We know that, but we also know that we keep getting told that the club have brought in loads of commercial deals, how much money that we're making from television revenue, Champions League money, winning the Premier League money, Husqvarna sponsorship. Why is all that money there unless we're going to act like a big club? So spend, please. Like, if they don't do it this summer, will they ever? That's a fair question. Will they ever fucking do it if they don't do it this summer? Harry said we should keep Kwanzaa for depth. I would put more eggs into keeping Kanade, personally, and I would sell Kwanzaa in a heartbeat. I'm just not convinced by him. I've nothing against the young man. but I'm just not convinced by him. And I think if you could get decent money for him and buy Hoyson, it should, in my head, be a no-brainer. And I don't think the manager is fully convinced by Kwanzaa either. And we've seen that from the limited game time he's been given this season. So I would like Joe Gomez to stay, but I think Joe's earned the right to decide his own future. And if he wants to move on, fair enough. But Kwanzaa, for me, it just feels like... It feels like an easy 40 or 50 million quid, if I'm being honest. And then you could say, let's say you exchanged him for Hoyson, then you could bring in somebody like a Hato, who can play in a couple of positions, as well as a Kirkes. Just my 2 cents on it, but again, ultimately, everybody will have their own opinions on Kwanzaa. I'm just not convinced. That's all I can keep saying. Corbin, so a couple of Guinness and Anfield Agenda. Life's good. Nice. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you. Craig, I agree. Too many promises. We just need... where's the money, John? Getting Cherky would be good backup for Dom and Mo. Well, the latest links I've seen to Cherky actually have been for United. Again, not to say that it's nailed on, but lots of talk of Cherky to United in the last few days. Rulesba said, I miss Klopp. What a legend he is. I'm just trying to figure out how much I miss him. Because I like Arne a lot. I love Klopp. And Klopp just lived and breathed every minute of it. But I do think when he made his decision, we've got a guy that I said from day one wasn't coming in to be a lamb to the slaughter. He was coming in to win. And I've always got that vibe from Arne Slot. And I really do like him. I'd like to see a little bit more personality. And maybe as he relaxes into the job, we'll see it a bit more. But I just really do like Arne Slot. And he's probably the best we could have hoped for after Jurgen, because nobody's going to be another Jurgen Klopp. You know, Jurgen Klopp was a generational manager and somebody that helped transform our club back to where we wanted to get it to. And that big leap to win that league title, it was huge. And getting that monkey off our back has taken some of the pressure off. So I miss Jurgen, but I'm also very, very happy and respectful of Arne and that we brought him in. And I think that fans worldwide are warming to Arne as his time progresses, because there was a lot of uncertainty about the style of football at times, the intensity, how measured he is as a person. But when you hear Mohamed Salah and players speaking about him, in his honesty, in his forthrightness, in his bluntness at times, that's all stuff that I like. And I think players respect as well. Chulu said, can't wait to see the Guard of Honour from Lavia and Caicedo. Yeah, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that's waiting for that, my man. Yes, definitely. You know, this is what you could have had. You know, enjoy the Europa Conference League final and all, lads. But, you know, you could have been a Premier League winner this season. That's why I think we're linked to Wharton and Rodgers. Oh, Wharton would be a belter of a signing. Yeah, Wharton would be absolutely incredible. Wharton, Rodgers, Stiller, they're all names that I wouldn't have any qualms whatsoever if Liverpool signed. Definitely all players that I think would be brilliant additions. Let's go back and check the poll, see how it's getting on. Right. So we asked, are you confident FSG do what is required this summer? There are 3 options: yes, no, or unsure. We've almost got about 500 votes, so keep voting away on that one, and we'll come back to it as the stream progresses. Tomorrow, there won't be a live stream tomorrow night because my daughter's heading over to Liverpool on Sunday. It's her 21st on Monday, so we're going up to her grandparents tomorrow evening to just have a little birthday evening for her. So I won't be streaming live tomorrow night, but we'll be back on Sunday for the game, obviously. Just wanted to let everybody know about that. There was a preview for the game against Chelsea is coming out at 10 a.m. in the morning, so keep an eye out for that one. And we will have a news video tomorrow as well, but just explaining again why I won't be live tomorrow night, because gots to go and celebrate my baby girl becoming 21, which is scary at the same time. Makes me feel very old. Adam said, I would sell Kwanzaa and Gomez, replace them both with Huijsen and Hato. Unbelievable business. It'd be great, wouldn't it? And look, I do think Kwanzaa will move on this summer. I just do. There's some talk of a potential loan, which I just don't understand. I think if you're going to move him on, move him on. But let's wait and see. Attracting plenty of interest. I don't know if I still have this in my notes. Bear with me. Where was this one? Yeah. So a report the other day from Lewis Steele said Jarell Kwanzaa will command a big fee, but teams are keen and this would depend on replacement. So again, I think the briefing to some journalists are that he will be a player who is, at least the club are open to moving on. Matthew said, would you buy Rodrigo to play left wing in his natural position that he can't play at Madrid? Vinny, because Vinny, where he's had his best games. Rodrigo, Ekitike, Salah front three would be incredible. He could be a world-class player for us. No, because if DIAZ is going to sign a new deal, or the club are looking to keep him, then we've got two really good left-sided players. Look, I like Rodrigo Goish, and Liverpool like him as well. Michael Edwards, I don't want to say discovered him, but was tracking him when he was still over in Brazil. Tried to sign him for Liverpool for, I think it was about $2.5 million. But I think as much as Madrid may be open to selling him, I just don't see that we have the space for him to play on the left side or the right side, because Salah's going to be the starting right winger. Goish isn't, Rodrigo's not going to want to come in and be a make-way or an understudy to anybody. And on the left side, we have two very good options. So unless there's some world where he wants to be played through the centre, I just don't see it being a possibility. And on the striker, Ekitike, I'm taking a leap of faith on because I don't know all that much about him. But I would have no problems with Sesko either. And thank you to everyone putting in the happy birthday stuff as well. Tanya said, thoughts on River Plate's Francesco whose name I can't. My thoughts on him are, what was it I read the other day? I think he wants to go to La Liga, and I can't remember if it was Real Madrid or Barcelona. But yeah, everybody's queuing up to sign him. I mean, he scored a free kick in the Super Classico, which was ridiculous. 17 years of age, an absolute undoubted talent. But I do think he'll end up in La Liga, unfortunately. But looks like an absolutely incredible player. But yeah, I'm sure there was a quote or something that said from him he'd like to go play in La Liga. What worried me today was the part of James Pearce's piece where he said Liverpool will continue with their sustainable transfer model and sales will determine how much they can spend in the window. I don't really want to reply to that, because my reply would only be rude, and I don't want to be disrespectful of James Pearce, but I get wound up by that type of bullshit from any journalist, because this sustainable shite that we keep getting hit with, we're the only club that ever seems to be concerned with it. And we're the only club that is always, even though we don't spend, have an issue with it. This sustainable model nonsense is just another way to cover up for FSG being cheap. So You can use words like sustainable model, and I'll use words like FSG or cheap, because that's what I think it is. You know, in any other walk of life, we'd be talking about this being somebody being cheap, not sustainable. Like, I don't give a shit. Sign the checks. That's all they're there for. You know, if you don't want to spend your own money on it and you want the club to keep going up in value, that's an even bigger indication you don't give a shit. So, for me, spend the money or shut up. Spend the money or sell up. Spend the money or disappear. Whatever. But it boils my blood when journalists that know better just keep giving them a pass, because it's ridiculous. It shouldn't be acceptable. It's pathetic. It's all I can keep saying. It is pathetic. These owners should be rinsed, from my opinion. Not told, we're being told by everyone they're geniuses. They're not geniuses. They're cheap. Cheap. Spend the money. Stop. Like, I think it's an embarrassment to the club that our owners, when I read that piece, I can't remember who wrote the piece. I think it was Mo Chatra, actually, that said within the financial industry and the football industry, Liverpool are thought of as miserly. That's embarrassing. It doesn't make sense to me. How are we always seemingly struggling financially or have to sell to buy? It's pathetic. What's your prediction for Sunday? Peter, again, don't want to give away my prediction because I want people to watch the video, which is coming out tomorrow. But it's not a million miles away from your own one. Yeah. But, I want people to watch the preview tomorrow, but it's not a million miles away from your own one. Can't be the biggest club in the world if you don't spend like it. But it's just this narrative of self-sustaining. Like, it makes it sound like we're in trouble if we don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just them covering up for miserly ways. Self-sustaining is just another phrase to say cheap. And I guess it's how you look at the world, right? I don't care if Liverpool have a little bit of debt, because debt in football isn't a bad word. It depends how that debt is. And we've made profits. Again, like, I've always understood that Liverpool don't have a set amount of money every window and go to the manager, you have 100 million quid this year, go and do what you need to do. It's always been that they look at each case individually and decide if there's value in it and if the club can afford it. But we have to be able to afford it because we've done fucking nothing and we've won the league this year. There was no contract extensions all the way throughout the year. So the club haven't had a huge outlay of money. There has to be a lot of money there. And so if they don't spend it, it's because they're cheap. And nothing or nobody will ever change my mind on that. If they don't spend money, I'm not buying the sustainable crap. It's cheapness. Right. Again, if you can, do vote away on this one. I don't think we're going to get up to 1,000 votes on it because it's a quieter stream. But actually, no, we'll just end it now because I think we've had, 625 votes on it. So we asked, are you confident FSG do what is required this summer? So the answer that was picked the most was no, with 39%. Yes at 33% and unsure 27%. Now, for what it's worth, I'm in the unsure camp. If I was to put myself in one of those camps, I'd say unsure. If you pushed me and said one or the other, then I'd say no, I'm expecting to be disappointed. But I'm willing to try and be open-minded about it. Mark said the Irish guy is 3 game weeks away from going bald. Wonder if he's getting nervous yet. Couldn't be as bad as me having to eat the broccoli though, Mark. That was shocking. Still have shivers thinking about it. Like, I don't think people understand quite how much I dislike that vegetable. It yeah. Even thinking about it, I want to vomit. Imagine if we had backing similar to PSG or City. I'd like it if we had backing similar to Aston Villa or, when you look at the net spend table, like we've brought up on the channel many times, we're nowhere near any of those clubs. We're down mid-table, It just doesn't stack up for me. I'll go to watch your prediction video. Have a good rest of the night. It's not on yet, Peter. It's out tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, my man. But appreciate it, and you have a good night as well, and a nice weekend. Right, so let's talk a little bit about the game before we finish up. We've about 20 minutes left tonight. So let's talk about Sunday. What are we expecting against Chelsea? Are we expecting Liverpool to be on the beach? Do we think Arne Slot is going to try to take points off Chelsea to try and keep them out of the Champions League, so as maybe their ability in the transfer market is dwindled or dwarfed or pushed down a bit? I think 2 or 3 changes to the 11, but nothing as dramatic as maybe some people are expecting. And also, I don't want us to go out there the first game after being crowned Premier League champions, getting a guard of honour, and then lose. That would feel weird. So, for me, this game and the Arsenal game, I want us to really put 100% in. And after that, Brighton and Palace last game of the season, you should do well at home there. But those 2 games, Arsenal, I feel like we need to make a good fist of showing them why we're Premier League champions. And Chelsea, I just want to keep them out of the Champions League. Feels like a goal fest, 3-2, said Mahmood for the weekend. Steve said, that's why I love you, Craig. You say what all of us want to say. And I don't understand why others don't, Steve. What's the downside of it? You don't get access. Okay. But I'm more concerned about what my fellow Liverpool fans think of me than what John W. Henry thinks of me. So for me, I don't see why anybody wouldn't say it as it is. Because, look, I'm of the mind that everybody won't agree with me. Some people look at the world in a different way. Some people don't take football as seriously as I do. Some people think I let Liverpool have too much of an impact in my life, and that's probably true. But it is what it is. I am who I am, and it's important to me that we have owners who are as hungry for success as we are as fans. That's it. It's as simple as that. I want owners that aren't happy picking up a trophy every few years, whatever. I want owners who want to dominate and want to put everybody in their place. That's what I want. And if we don't get that, then I'm just going to keep talking out against it until things change. But again, I apologise when it becomes repetitive to people, but just think they've been given too much leeway and too easy of a ride. I don't think in any other country this would happen. I think if this was happening to an American sports team, these FSGs would be getting rinsed in the media. And there'd be far more outrage from fans and journalists, and I just think they've gotten off too lightly by the way that they manage the media, by the way that they keep people on side, tease potential opportunities. There's just so many things about them that I don't like about FSG, to be honest. I don't see them as getting Liverpool, if that makes sense. I just don't. Adrian said, if winning the Premier League awards winners so much money, then being sustainable should mean to defend the title and win it again. Love it. Love it, Adrian. Yes, sir. That's it. Best way to make sure we're sustainable is to keep going out there and winning silverware and bringing in prize money, because that will in turn attract sponsorship, commercial deals, more money. I love it. There you go, Adrian. You can be the Anfield Agenda representative, mate. You can go in there and bang that table, because I'm right with you on that. One said, I think Arnold will go strong, 95% full squad. What's this one? From Alex said, it's what we could have won with Jurgen Klopp. Superstar, had FSG supported the great man, we would have been fighting for number 23 and number 9 next season. Yep, I have a phrase that I always say. It's, we won stuff in spite of the owners, not because of them. And look, they brawl us Jurgen. That they get the credit for. The stadium, I don't see why they get so much credit for the attaboy, for the obvious shit that you and I are paying for. You know, they built a stadium, they loan the money, they're getting paid back the money, their asset goes up, win-win. It's common sense stuff, so that's not pat in the back stuff for me, really. And Nessie said, how am I doing? I'm good, Nessie, yeah, I'm good. It's a bank holiday weekend, so yeah, looking forward to a nice relaxing weekend. The Reds back in action on Sunday. Daughter turning 21. So yeah, proud daddy, but happy. And thank you. Ryan said, totally agree, Adrian, success brings money. Yep, exactly. And it also attracts the better players. Success breeds success and standards. And Liverpool Football Club exists to win trophies. That's what we were all brought up on. Not, one league title's great, but back-to-back league titles, well, that's a dynasty. And that's what we need to do. What are your thoughts on people who say we've only got 2 Premier League titles but refuse to acknowledge the other 18 titles we have? I mean, I guess my answer there is, well, where do you draw the line? So if they want to talk about Premier League onlys, right, well, are we allowed to say then that Nottingham Forest haven't won a European Cup, or that shouldn't be considered, or Aston Villa shouldn't be considered, or, United's earlier triumphs in Europe shouldn't be considered? Like, where do you draw the line? Just because there was a competition change of name, who gives a shit? League title's a league title, still the top division of English football. So, yeah, I don't really care what they have to say, because, again, their only intent is to undermine Liverpool rather than acknowledge. And if you can't at least acknowledge what is factually correct, then they're weird. Like, there's no arguing anymore. Liverpool are the most successful club in English football. End of. No conversation. When you've got Neville even having to admit to it, there's no debate anymore. I know Neville tries to say, oh, but United are the biggest club. Yeah, maybe, but not worth a shitty on the pitch now, is it? Can't even afford to keep staff, another 200 layoffs. Club mismanaged from top to bottom. So, yeah, I'm happy with where we are in that regard, but I'd be happier with a few more additions in the transfer market. Just asked them if football began in 1992. I know, it's so stupid. Like, it's literally the argument of an idiot that has no argument. Again, you got to ask, when these people are doing these things, I always ask myself, well, what's the agenda? And it is to undermine Liverpool, always, on whatever it might be. Won a league title, yeah, but it was a COVID league title, so it doesn't count. Won a league title this year, but it was the Premier League underperformed, so it doesn't count. What do you mean the Premier League underperformed? Arsenal in the Champions League semi-final. United and Spurs will be in the Europa League final. Chelsea will be in the Conference League final and probably win it. The league points tallies are similar this season than they were in other seasons at this point. Everything they say is horseshit, but it just is said to make themselves feel better, because their inbuilt dislike of Liverpool and anything Liverpool related stops them from being common, decent people. And that, to me, speaks to the fact that these fuckers have never played sport. So, it's as simple as that. Anybody who's played sport at any level and any sport will want to show proper sportsmanship or sportswomanship and just congratulate your opponents. And if you can't do that through gritted teeth and just say well done without any caveats, then don't bother. But also don't bother coming and annoying us about it, because, we achieved something this season that deserves recognition. And again, Arsenal try to make everything all about them, always, constantly. Let's see if they can win the Champions League. If they can't, then it's another failure of a season for Arteta. Deep down, they all know the truth and they're crying inside. Absolutely, it's just projection. That's it. They're just, I On social media in particular, they're doing it because they know it's an easy way to get likes, because you've got every other set of fans that aren't Liverpool fans against the Liverpool fans. So it's just tribalism and silliness. Right, let's do a recap. And we do have a late night news video coming up, by the way, with some stuff that we have kept back just for that video. So if people often think, I won't watch the late video because it's just going to be a repeat. We've so much news lately that we're breaking it up into 3 chunks. The early video, excuse me, broccoli, thinking about broccoli again. The late night agenda and the nightly news video. And tonight's one is no different. We've got a couple of stories we held back that we haven't discussed yet. So let's quickly fly through on a recap for people who are coming in a little bit late, because I always do appreciate that people may drop in and out of stream. So here's a quick run through of everything that we've discussed this evening. Andy Robertson said that he would welcome the opportunity to open talks about extending his stay at Liverpool beyond 2026, saying that he still thinks he has the quality to justify staying beyond his current terms. That was from Lewis Steele. Then we had James Pearce saying Liverpool currently regard Chelsea as the frontrunners for Dean Huijsen. Again, agree to disagree on that one. I think our expectations are just being managed once again there. Also from James Pearce, Hugo Ekitike and Benjamin Sesko have been considered by Liverpool. When Liverpool failed in the pursuit of Martin Zubimendi last summer, they considered Stuttgart's Angelo Stiller as an alternative. Even though we were all told there was no alternative, it was Zubimendi or nobody. But again, of course, we were being lied to, which we constantly are. Liverpool have a 1-year option built into Alisson Becker's deal, so he is under contract until 2027. Then we had the futures of Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota have been the subject of speculation. Diaz is coming off the best season he's had for Liverpool so far. Liverpool don't want to lose him. The same goes for Jota. There's no sign of either pushing for a move. That's also, I believe, untrue, because Diogo Jota is absolutely available for sale, or at least in consideration to be sold. And I think saying anything else is just, I think, untrue. But we move on. Arne Slot said that he did get a message from Jurgen Klopp, and he said, congratulations, now you know how special the club is and you're part of history. He was really happy for me and the players and the fans. David Ornstein said Liverpool and Arsenal have both Alexander Isak as their first choice striker target this summer, despite his steep asking price. Then there was a piece coming out of Relevo in Spain that said, the dream of Luis Diaz is to win the Champions League with Liverpool. Good. Let's make it happen. Arne Slot confirmed that Conor Bradley is back in training today and is expected to be available to face Chelsea. We wish Joe Allen a fond farewell because he's retiring at the end of the season. 661 professional games for club and country, and of course represented Liverpool well as well. So best luck to Joe Allen. Football on TNT Sports posted to say only Mohamed Salah has been involved in more goal contributions this season than Bruno Fernandes in the Premier League. 56 for Mo and 30, in all competitions, my apologies. 56 for Mo and 35 for Bruno Fernandes. What else was there? Then there was the Jamie Carragher piece where he was writing in the Telegraph and he said, watching Cole Palmer for Chelsea reminds me of watching Steven Gerrard for Liverpool. Assists and goals from midfield, but at times the frustration of what's going on around him. The comment, the reply to this is the one that caught our attention though. Said, Jamie, you're an incredibly weird person. This fascination with Cole Palmer is weird. You force him down our throats by saying he's better than Salah, and now you angle a way of hiding his painfully obviously poor season within this article, which I agree with. I think Cole Palmer's season has been unacceptable after the great start that he had. The second half's been shocking. Then there was Sky Sports News who said Luis Diaz will hold talks about extending his Liverpool contract at the end of the season, which is great news. And then we had the team of the season from FC25, which is Sells in goal, Trent at right back, Virgil van Dijk and Gabriel in the centre-back positions, Milos Kerkez at left-back. The midfield trio were Declan Rice, Ryan Gravenberch and Cole Palmer. And the attackers were Mohamed Salah on the right, Alexander Isak through the centre and Matheus Cunha on the left. The bench for the team of the season was Milenkovic, Anthony Robinson, Chris Wood, Bukayo Saka, Bruno Fernandes, Alexis McAllister. Who's this one? William Saliba and Haaland. They were the bench players. Right. Super chat to finish up. Jurgen Klopp. La 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 la. Jurgen Klopp. La 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 la. Craig, Connor, I really appreciate you guys so much and looking forward to celebrating back-to-back league titles next season. Much love, my man. Appreciate you. And look, ladies and gents, I'm going to say goodnight to you all as well. I'm going to go record that nightly news video now where we're going to have a bit of an update on a target that Liverpool have been linked to that you probably won't believe, but we'll talk about it during the video. So tomorrow, 10 a.m, preview coming out, and there'll be a news video in the evening as well. Then I'll see you guys on Sunday. Don't forget, we will be live from 3:15 for the watch-along, and the show in Cork is going to go on sale soon. It is confirmed. Friday, August the 8th at the Cypress Avenue venue in Cork. We'll see you guys there. Much love.